Our generation seems to be the generation of remakes. These remakes play on the nostalgia of generations both before and during my own years, making me realise that I am now becoming one of the older generations. A film I am fond of and grew up with is The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. I was unaware at the time that it was a remake, but loved the film so much that I can watch it during summer. Each version of the film has been released a good number of years after another and tends to rely upon affective nostalgia to make our memories and relationship with the film re-emerge. This not only makes the older generations want to see the newer version, but also shows the younger version the characters and story they love in a new light. Christine Sprengler suggests that postmodernism has defined with nostalgia. Rewatching it again, I realised with each retelling of the story, it tends to pull on the heartstrings and have more emphasis on emotions. The 1996 version of the story is only 26 minutes long and doesn't have much emotion tied to it. The 2000 version has taken what was good and developed upon it. The Grinch became more likeable and has more dimensions to him by using his bullying and differences to better connect people to his character and the way of thinking. The 2018 version does so too, making it more compatible with how newer generations are living. It includes loneliness and also how people are doing the difficult job of raising children, especially single parents, but lets the audience know that they are not alone and can find help. One quote has stuck with me, which I believe is prominently shown in The Grinch, that being when Turner described metamodernism as a pendulum, a constant swaying force, which can be understood as always seeing both sides of a coin. Without one, we cannot have the other. We are shown how much the Grinch is perceived, but also how he actually is. Learning about metamodernism has not come easy to me. However, this quote made it easier. Due to this, I was able to start noticing metamodernism in my everyday life. And to further Turner's quote, deconstruction will always find construction, which I viewed in the television show on Netflix called Arcane. Arcane constantly shows both sides of a coin and never reveals to its audience only one side of the story. Every story and character has layers, multiple truths, and are sometimes parallel to each other. This is shown mostly with Powder and Jinx, the same person yet two sides of the same coin. Within an episode of Season 2, we are shown an alternative universe where Powder never becomes Jinx. We are shown how much alike Powder and Jinx actually are, although they differ drastically. Powder sees the good in the world and continues to keep those she cares about close, whereas Jinx forces them away, believing herself to be the reason behind all the bad things they have faced. Powder and Jinx are one and the same. They collide at multiple points of the story. Powder is the reason Jinx exists, and is her own torment within her mind. Both unity and fragmentation exist within and are the reasonings behind the character. According to Vermeulen, modernism and postmodernism negotiate in order to create the swinging pendulum of unity and fragmentation. I also believe that their art style has captured metamodernism in its finest light. They take both 2D and 3D animation, two very different mediums used over the years, and combine them to create something which the world was not very aware of. Drastically increased the time in which it would take to make a single episode. It slowed down production, and along with other issues such as the story not being completely there, the company had to force production to end. However, the company believed in the show and after fixing complications, restarted the entire project. They believed in the new course that was being created and although drastically different to how things used to be, followed it. I also believe this is how filmmaking in general has developed, including in my own time as a student. The more I have been taught, the more ways I learn to develop. In my first year at university, I was shown how movies are now being filmed on phones. Thus we were set coursework to create a short film this way. My course on metamodernism reminded me of this, and is the reason I realised how much metamodernism is around me and my filmmaking career. Over the many short films I have created, I have noticed the lessening of what used to be necessary equipment. Every time I have booked equipment, I add less to the list. The entirety of this diary film, I have recorded my voice and videos, downloaded sources, and even edited on my mobile phone. Metamodernism has shown me that we can take the old and combine it with the new. Nostalgia and futurism hand in hand. I have grown alongside it and only recently noticed. Although, as presented to us in a lecture, getting into the creative industries is a lot more difficult now. However, technology has now reached the standard of anyone in the world being able to create things from scratch and upload them for anyone to see. Learning about metamodernism has opened my view of the world, whether I am at work, filming projects, or even just living my everyday life. We look back on what previously happened, separate and take what we know is best and live with it, developing it and learning again as we go. That to me is metamodernism.